like watching kind of like the older ballers just like grow up from starting as like maybe C team and then going slowly progressing up to like a varsity ball player.
Yeah, I mean, probably the best example of that is Zach Verge. We talked about. I mean, he was on our C team, I think maybe for 2 years, and then so his freshman year and sophomore year, and then on our JV team his junior year, and then I mean, I'm constantly telling him this. He just has improved so much over the course of his career, and and then the obvious one, Michael Painter as a sophomore starter on a 1-19 team, and then was our leading scorer. And then the junior year is our leading scorer, and then obviously his senior year we were able to kind of, and so him and I kind of have I feel like a special bond because we went through that really tough season together, and then being able to culminate his senior year with him getting Player of the Year, going to the Tacoma Dome, and he's just a really hard-working kid, and so it's cool when good things happen to good people. It's cool when hard work pays off, and because as a coach, you're constantly telling your players, man, just work hard. It's all gonna pay off, and in this case, it's always true, but you don't necessarily get to see it in a tangible way like Michael has been able to.
So I know Michael couldn't be here today, but what has Michael Painter meant to your program? I mean, I know he's a team captain, and not only on the court, but he brings it off the court too. He sets the bar for school and all the other things. So what has he meant to you guys? Yeah,
I mean, that's funny because there's college coaches that are calling me now, and so I get to talk about Mike to them, and they say, well, we haven't really seen him, describe him to us, and I would say he's a 6'4" Asian that can ball. I mean, he can shoot the rock. He's good in the post. Got great hands, great footwork. But it's that's kind of, there's an end to the basketball part of it, and then a person takes over, and that's what's going to carry him through his whole life. Whether he plays at Minot State or goes to we just got a call yesterday from Carroll College in Helena, Montana. And these are NAIA Division I schools or NCAA Division II or Division III schools. So it's it's a pretty cool deal. But in the end, at some point, basketball is going to be over, and what he's going to have is his work ethic. What he's going to have is his leadership abilities. What he's going to have is just his personality that is magnetic, and everyone wants to be around him. And he is the consummate leader. He's the type of guy that's going to, I'll say, like we checked into our hotel at State, and there's this 2-page rules that you're supposed to go over with your team, about make sure you're, there's not extra people in your rooms, and make sure your lights are out at 10 o'clock, just the hotel rules, and most people just kind of sign it and give it back to the lady. I hand mine to Michael, say, Mike, get the guys together and tell them this. And the 2 front desk ladies are looking at him like, that's never, ever happened. We've never seen anyone do that. And they're, hey, listen up, guys. Hey, get your headphones on. Hey, and he just literally goes over all the rules. And, I mean, that's just the type of kid that he is. He's mature. He's a leader. And he's not just a leader. He's one that you want every kid to follow. Like, if you want to know how hard to work in practice, look at Mike. If you want to know how to get it done in the classroom, watch Mike. And just time and time again, he just proves. So to our program, he's meant the world because he set a tone and left a legacy. For future captains, for future players. I mean, my son is coming through, and he treated him and all the other freshmen as well as he treated his best friends, on varsity. And so that's pretty cool and pretty unique. He's a special kid for sure.
So talking about leadership, like every year, I mean, you've done this for a while. Every year you have the guy, your leader, someone who's running the program. How is it filling the shoes of that? Like, how do you find your next Mike? Like, how do you go about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of know going in, and it doesn't always have to be one person. We've had co-captains before, we've had tri-captains before, and I've tried a bunch of different things as far as did it fall down? I've tried a bunch of different things as far as like doing applications for kids that want to be captain, having kids vote or having the outgoing seniors vote on the next year's captains. But after doing it for that was my 10th season that I just finished. So going into my 11th year, really it's just more of a feeling, and I'm the one that's dealing with the captain the most. And so I just basically have boiled it down now where my staff and I decide who it's going to be. And so obviously 3 top candidates would be Nathan and Joshua and Bryce. and so they could all be captains, or maybe only two of them are, or only one of them. But the reality is it's going to be kind of, over the course of the summer, who steps up, who's at all of our stuff, who's actually, because that's really, the underclassmen will follow someone that's committed, someone that's there. And again, that's something that Mike, whether it's a spring league game, a fall league game, summer league game, or the actual season, he's there. He's committed. He does, it's not like, hey, I have this family vacation I'm going on. Really, if you're going to be a leader, you have to sacrifice some stuff, and he's the type of kid. So I think we have some really good candidates, and again, a good mentor to follow. So whoever it is, they're going to bring their own personality, their own style to it. But it'll be kind of like what Mike did.
So let's talk about more about your other players. Like, I know Cole Grindy, he was there his freshman year. He left and he came back, and then you got guys like Bryce, who wasn't really sure if he was going to play this year. Like, what have those kind of guys meant to your team?
Yeah, we're sitting in the locker room at Tacoma Dome after, we lost both of our games, and we're kind of bummed. But, I think you get away from it a little bit, and you go, man, that was pretty special what we did, pretty cool. And I said to him, in that locker room, I can't imagine this experience without any one of you, whether it's a role player like Aaron Herrera or Zach Verge, or someone that hits shots against Kennewick and Pasco like Cole Grindy. We had a scoring drought, and I think he hit 3 or 4 threes in the fourth quarter. You're just going, obviously we don't win that game without that. And even last year, he hit a shot against Ferndale, Cole did, where we were down 2 with 30 seconds to go. And someone shoots a 3, we miss it, but get the rebound, kick it back out. Someone else shoots a 3, we miss it, get the rebound, kick it out to Cole, and he just, got ice in his veins. And so I think, all those kids, Bryce V was just, he's our muscle guy. He's set great screens, and for being how big he is, he just has this shooter's touch. He can hit that mid-range shot. He hit some against Glacier Peak. They kind of had a similar kid, a bigger kid that hit a 3, and Bryce was defending, but he had his hands down. So I'm like, Bryce, get your hands up. And the next time down, they swing it to Bryce, and he hits a 3 in this kid's face. And so it's kind of like, and those kids are, you as a coach, it's bittersweet because you're excited about the future and what's to come and the next year, but you're also, a little sad about what you're losing. So it's a good group of seniors that are leaving, but like I said, we're pretty excited for what's to come as well.
So speaking of seniors, we have a little segment here that we like to call Senioritis. That actually worked out. Hello, my name is Tyler Norman, and I'm a senior here at the IC. And I'm here to talk to you about a little issue we have on senioritis. Now, senioritis can be taken in many ways, and here are some ways that it can be taken. Here's the first part of senioritis, those who do not try. Here's the second part of senioritis, the senior to freshman ratio.
I'm so done. I hate life.
Think that was bad? Most seniors will be like this in their high school time. Senioritis is a real thing, and it needs to be stopped. Welcome back, Marysville. If you're just tuning in, we're here with Coach Gould, MP basketball coach.
So, like, the upcoming seasons, and how you feel the future of the program's going, how do you feel about that?
I'm a pretty optimistic person. So, there's before, years when I didn't feel like we had a whole bunch of talent coming up, I'm always just thinking we're going to be so good. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But, we have, like I've talked about before, just those solid 3 returning starters, which, is big. But, those guys have to morph into, a little bit more of a scoring role. I think Michael averaged 16, Cole averaged 12 or 14, so that's some big shoes to fill. JB was right around 12, 14, and so he's going to have to step up his scoring output. Nathan definitely is going to have to, get to the rim and really just he defers to other people, and now he's got to be the guy. But even talking more, about our youth kids, the juniors that were on JV this year, they, they're going to have to step up, and I think, one of the things that we try to do in our program is just get a high commitment level, because I think, people think, okay, you're done with basketball in March, but really, we start open gym, we start, our spring league, and just doing. I think we just have to get kids that are committed to doing that.
Yeah.
So kind of like seeing like about the future of the program. You have a son that's going to possibly come through the program.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that, knowing that one of your kids are going to be playing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I love being around him because he's my son. But I think that it'll be a tough thing. I think just in general, I think people, he's gonna be at a disadvantage because we're gonna work like crazy to make sure that no one feels like he's getting special treatment.
Yeah.
And so I think kind of the opposite starts to happen, to where not only is he not getting special treatment, he's not getting fair treatment. And so really what I've done in that scenario already is just really deferred to my coaching staff. I told those guys, I mean, you guys are basically making all the decisions on Josiah Gould, and I trust those guys, my staff. But he's a dedicated player. Yeah. I mean, he's in the gym shooting, 5:30, 3 mornings a week for an hour. We have the gun. It's a shooting machine that rebounds the ball for you. I call it the dad replacement, so I don't have to rebound for him. So it shoots the balls out to him, and he's shooting. He plays on a AAU team called North City, and so he practices with them 2 nights a week. And so he's a dedicated kid. And hopefully his body catches up and he's able to be, 6'3" or 6'4" instead of 5'3" or 5'4". But, I think they'll be good and bad about coaching him. And just knowing my role, like being at home and being his dad, and really that's way more important to me than being his coach. For and so we've talked even about that, like, if we get in a spot where, you're just like, Dad, chill out. Yeah. And okay, I want to be your dad, and I want to hug you, and we can go and have fun and not always be talking or worried about MP basketball.
So basically, everything's earned, nothing's given, and that's he just knows that for sure, and he's just gonna put in the work like he already has been. Yeah. So talking about him, let's start talking about some other like his teammates, his new teammates. So you got a lot of new kids there. You got Ray, you got Freddie Brown. Yeah. What do those guys mean to your program, and where do you see them going in the next couple of years? Yeah, it's so cool because I feel like I know this group better than I've known any of them, because they started in 4th grade together with our Marysville Select program, and Ray is just this speedy little athlete that could do a bunch of good things, and Freddie Brown III is one of Sai's best friends, and they hang out all the time, and and he's going to be a special player. He's the type of kid that also puts in work, plays on spring AAU team, and doing all that stuff, and so we're excited. I think it'd be nice to have someone coming up that was tall. I mean, we got a ton of guards right now, and so Nate is going to kind of fill that role as a 5, and really, at 6'4", with as how athletic he is, he can be really versatile. But I think we have Tyler McDonald, who's a tough kid, football kid, but he's like 6'2". Yeah. But I mean, in high school, I think you can have some serviceable posts like that. Yeah. Eric Lind, our quarterback, is he's 6'4", 6'5". And his main focus is football. Yeah. And so, trying to get him, to get better between now and next year, that's going to be something that we're going to be, looking for him and Tyler to kind of work together and get stronger and get better in the realm of basketball. Kind of funny. I kind of see it like in a Coach Carter kind of way. Kind of like how he has like he has to fix his team. That's like, your 1-19 season. Then he has his son come through the program, and then they make it to like these state finals, but they lose. Yeah. But they've like learned all the progression and all this. And it's pretty awesome to see, honestly, especially in a local town like that. Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, just that reminds me of, and I don't know if this is politically correct to say, but I think with our football program, and then now with our basketball program, we really got to a spot where there were 8 teams left in the state, and really there was only one that didn't end in Catholic, or is it notorious for recruiting kids, getting 20-point plus scorers to somehow transfer in their junior or senior year, guys that weren't on the roster. I mean, the kids that we had
in the
They've
state
been-
tournament.
yeah.
They played AAU together, all growing up. You know, they know each other, and they all live in Marysville. I mean, there's no like shady, kind of shaky things going on. And so I think, you know, there's a sense of pride there. You know, we didn't go down there and tear it up and, you know, beat teams, but I mean, we held our own against Eastside Catholic.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think, you know, there's a ton of pride in the fact, just knowing that we're doing the things the right way, you know, doing it with the kids that are supposed to be there. And so I feel like
That's awesome.
that's cool.
Yeah. All right, so right now we're going to cut away to a segment that we call Chad Gnarly.
Today, lad?
I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of sunny outside.
We have to do something gnarly.
I mean, I have a basketball in my hand. And, well, you had that really good drink you had earlier, so I don't know. We have a camera too.
That sounds gnarly.
Hello everybody, it's local surfer Chad Gnarly here, just showing you what I do on the daily. I don't always surf, you know, local Washington surfer. I like to come out here and, you know, play some hoops too. .360, bruh. They call me Chad Crossover Gnarly for nothing. Alright, Renee, how about a little 1v1? Oh, that was so gnarly, man! That was incredibly gnarly! It's my turn now, lad. Come here, come here. Oh, you got a little bit slippery, lad. You know what? I'm gonna let you win, lad. You know, whenever Chad Gnarly he likes to drink Arizona tea. Arizona tea is a great beverage for all the gnarly surfers. Woo! Arizona tea helps you shoot better, lad. Hey Renee, give me that ball. So on the next episode of Chad Gnarly, we'll learn how to surf, but this is me showing you how to hoop.
Chad Gnarly. Chad Gnarly. Chad Gnarly. Gnarly Chad. Chad Gnarly. Welcome back, Marysville. We're here with MP basketball coach Gould. So to kind of close our show, we just wanted to ask you, like, with the three guys that you have, huge players. I mean, they're kids that came in, they're young, but they still got it done. You got the athletic Nate, got the shooter, and then you got Bryce Juno, who's just a baller. Where do you see your program going in the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, again, it's kind of one of those things that just builds on itself. And I think, you know, in high school, it's really important to have good guards, and we definitely have had that. You know, 2 years ago, we, you know, kind of committed to, you know, let's bring some young kids up, and maybe they're playing above the level that they maybe would have been playing in a different program. But I feel like it, you know, in the end, it started to pay off. And so, you know, it's good to have, you know, that kind of stuff building for the future. But as far as like how we're gonna do, I mean, you know, you can't really tell. Especially when you lose major pieces. And so just like I talked about earlier, just having guys step up and really what's going to determine how well we do in the future is going to be how well we start right now. I mean, and those kids know that. And so we have multiple sport athletes, which we always promote. You know, Nate's out there getting stronger and faster because he's in track. You know, and JB will do cross country right before our basketball season, and so that's why he's just tireless there. And then Bryce is, you know, he's a one sport kid. Tried out football a little bit this year, but you know, he's playing in, you know, kind of year-round basketball, and so he's going to get better. And plus, he just plays nonstop. There's a bunch of open gyms out on the reservation, so he's just constantly playing hoops.
So being that you guys made it to state this year, and I mean that's huge. That's a hard thing to do. It's a lot easier said than done. Not a lot of people experience that. Being that they were so young, I mean, being juniors and experiencing that, do you think you have an advantage to get back next year?
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough to predict. I mean, there's, if we're super honest, there's some luck involved after, losing to Glacier Peak and then our regional round matchup. I mean, Kennewick was good, but they weren't as good as Glacier Peak's regional round matchup, who's Garfield, and so that could have been the end of our season. So that, there's some, obviously you have to put yourself in a position to be in districts, and then you have to do well enough in districts to get to the regional game, and all that kind of stuff. So as far as obviously we'd love to go back to the Tacoma Dome, and to do it 2 years in a row would be unbelievable. Do we have a legitimate shot at that? I mean, I know that my guys think that we do, and that's going to be a goal that we set. But really the main goal we set for ourselves every year is just to play more than 20 games, to make it to that district tournament, and then we set some new goals when we get to that point, and then we set some new goals when we get to that point. But I think, having the experience, in those big time games, whether you win them or lose them, is an advantage. I think that those kids aren't going to be rattled, by a close game against Stanwood in the league like maybe they would have last year or the year before. Because they've been there and they've done that. And so I think that that's good. Yeah, I mean, we'd love to get back there, but I'm not going to make any outlandish predictions.
All right. So we wanted to thank Coach Gould for being here today and answering all our questions. And we want to thank all our viewers, and we all hope that you have a good day.
Thanks for having me.